Yo, what up, everybody? We back. It's Turn Bark time. I'm the Turn.
I'm the Bark.
And we have been here a long time. This is season, if you can believe it, 6. Episode 8. Oh, your hand motions were way better than mine. You had thought that out. That was way better. Hey, so exciting stuff kind of happening. Had to take last week off because I had company in town. Jeff, the Sasquatch McLaughlin, sorry, was in town to do our connecting the dots for our 7th and our 8th graders. And then he rolled into town Wednesday night. So just took that week just to have a break, hang out with a buddy. And yeah, I mean, Bark used to come over to those too because he lived right across the street. So he'd just hang out and then he'd wander across the home. But yeah, real quick, I'm gonna give a shout out. Great season for my girls basketball team. They finished last Monday. The A team went 9-1, I believe, and the B team went. I think they went like 5-4. I think because they had lost one of the. They didn't have a game where we did. So pretty exciting stuff. They did a great job. But speaking of basketball, Bark, let's talk a little RA Long here.
Well. By the time that this posts, it will be Thursday the 6th. And we will be ready for this year's 4th Civil War matchup between RA Long and our crosstown rivals, the Mark Morris Monarchs. And this will be the first matchup of the season not played in Cowlitz County, because we played once at Mark Morris, once at RA Long, and once at neighboring Kelso. So, yeah, I mean, the boys are ranked number 2 going into a tournament. Mark Morris was ranked number 8. They lost to Linden, which put them on our side of the bracket. And then Mark Morris beat Squim by 10 today. So, I don't know. It's everybody says it's really hard to beat a team 3 times. So now everybody's like, well, it's really, really hard to beat a team
4 times. Yeah.
So we're just hoping that, it happens. The boys play well. Tremaine, my boy Tremaine, played like a demon last Saturday against Foster. So led scoring. We didn't have anybody in huge numbers. Like Trey led the team with 13 points that night.
Perfect.
So, but we had like 2 or 3 other guys that scored 10. So when everybody chips in.
Yep.
So a shout out to an RA Long alum who's now a Central Wildcat, Kevin Holden.
Yeah.
Graduated from RA Long 2 years ago, was the GNAC, I think, Player of the Year for basketball. Shout out to Andy Guerrero. Andy Guerrero for taking some photos and some videos, making him look good.
Yeah.
That's the alum.
Yeah.
So,
man,
we're supporting Jax.
Yeah, this is the Trans Cascadian edition of the show, and we're still finding ways to connect. So, all right, guys, this is kind of a fun story to talk about. It's 2 different levels. So I'll tell kind of the intro story of why we're doing this topic this week, and then Barker, I'll turn it over to you to kind of start digging into the content. So we had talked about this topic for actually last year, and we're talking about Operation Flagship tonight. And for those of you who don't know what it is, this is the ultimate law enforcement meets sports meets just great historical story from this perspective. But the funny story is Barker was going through, you guys, if you've seen our Instagram, we always have like a placard that goes on it. And it goes on our regular videos too on YouTube and things like that. And on they're on Spotify too, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
The episode title cards on Spotify.
Yeah. So Barker was going through his phone, or was your phone, or was it Canva, or was it?
I was going through Canva.
He's going through Canva. He's like, did we ever do this episode? I don't think we did. And he had like a title card ready to go. So we're like, yep, that's what this week is. So get ready to hear about Operation Flagship.
All right. So Operation Flagship, if you have seen the title card, is from a time period long ago, not so long ago, but long ago that the Washington Redskins were still a thing. And they were
I
playing
also
really.
was not born yet. I want to clarify that.
Oh, did I write what year this was? Is it 85 or 86?
It's 85.
85. So I was born. I was just a wee little baby. So it's 1985, and the U.S. Marshal Service has decided that they are going to conduct a series of honeypot operations. So again, a honeypot operation is the idea that people are getting something of value for free. And so like people will show up for free stuff, and then
Yep.
like the police jump out and surprise, you're under arrest. And so like over from 81 to 86, it just said that they arrested thousands of people. And so like other examples, they said that like, people had a valuable package to pick up. So you had to come to like this place to pick up the package. You won a lottery grand prize, or that you won concert tickets to, I think it was Boy George. So, and they got people to show up. So this one happened in the DC area.
Sorry, Bart. Can I interrupt really quick? Because one of the
Yeah.
best stories is in New York City, how they got, or in Buffalo, how they got people to come out. And that was saying that they won the lottery between $250 and $10,000. And I think it says uh, in 1984, they did a large scale operation that spanned over 2 months in 8 states and resulted in 3,300 arrests. So anyway, sorry, keep going. My bad.
Yeah. So it's bang for your buck. And so during this time period, like the Washington Redskins were doing pretty well. Well, I mean, the Commanders had a good season this year, so I mean, they're kind of on the come up again. And so what they did is they sent out thousands of invitations to people with. They targeted 3,000 people who had 5,000 warrants. So some of them were like double or triple winners.
Yep.
And the idea is that they had won free tickets to the Redskin Bengals game on December 15th, and they were supposed to show up to the DC Convention Center for a free brunch. So not only did you get free tickets, but you're getting food, and you possibly got put into a drawing for 10 tickets to Super Bowl 20, which ended up being the Bears and the Patriots.
All expenses paid, though.
Yes, all expenses paid.
Week-long trip. So a pretty big deal.
And they also told people, like, to get the free tickets, like, you got to show up and you have to make sure you bring ID to verify that you are the person that we are giving this prize to.
So great. You have to bring your ID to make sure we know who you are.
Yeah. And during this time period, season tickets for the Redskins had a waiting list that was 10 years long.
Holy smokes. So this is a big.
It's not just getting tickets. It's getting tickets to, like, right. It's pretty rare tickets, and this is before StubHub and like all of the online.
Yeah.
It's way harder to get secondary market tickets.
Yep.
And so they set up this honeypot, this sting operation, and it's called Flagship, Operation Flagship, because they sent letters out from Flagship International Sports Television, which, if you look at the acronym, that spells FIST, which is also the real acronym of this team was the Fugitive Investigative Strike Team, FIST. So there's a lot of these like little like kind of like cheeky nods inside of what they did. I'm trying to think. There's set up by Tobias Roche, Chief Deputy of the U.S. Marshals, and then Herb Rutherford III were kind of the masterminds behind it. But they sent out these letters, and they said the president of FIST was Michael Detnaw. Yep. And Detnaw is the word wanted.
Spelled backwards.
And then to call, if they had questions, they gave a phone number, and people would call, and it would go to a fake, like the operators would connect them to somebody working for the U.S. Marshal Service, who said their name was Marcus Cran, which Cran is
narc spelled backwards.
And the hold music.
Yep.
The hold music was "I Fought the Law,"
which is the Bobby Fuller 4.
There's just like so many things that you look at this. I feel like people today, like we play like Contexto and like connections and Wordle, and like we'd be like, wait a minute, there's a secret message in here, and escape rooms, right?
Yeah.
There's just like so many things where it was like, but like I guess people had less information back then.
But
the
crazy thing, did you read about how like it was so convincing that the broadcasting group actually brought a letter? A lawyer so they were saying that it was so convincing that the a lawyer representing the actual local broadcaster of the Redskins game went to the police command post to issue a cease and desist order, saying that Flagship International did not have the appropriate license to operate in the district. So, like, could you imagine your whole thing getting ruined by some freaking lawyer just like driving us up the wall? Ugh.
I mean, stuff like that happens all the time.
It does, but like, holy cow.
It was interesting. So they use 166 marshals and police officers, both male and female. This is the part I thought was interesting. So there was, ESPN has a 30 for 30 on this. I couldn't find that, but I found NFL Films had a documentary on it where they actually interview Roche and Rutherford, among other people. And one of the things that they said that they did is, so like people dressed up in like Redskins uniforms. They had female officers dressed as cheerleaders.
Cheerleaders, yep.
And the cheerleaders would give hugs as people came in, but really what they were doing while they were giving hugs is they were patting them down to make sure that they didn't have firearms.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they took the people, they brought them in for the brunch, they fed them, and then they took, I think, batches of 25 people into a secondary room to talk about the contest.
Yeah.
And then at that point, when they said surprise, all of these dudes in like SWAT gear would just bust into the room and arrest people.
Yep.
And they ended up catching, what was it? They had 167 positive replies, and it led to 101 arrests.
Yep.
And so, like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, for me, the first thing that came to my mind is like, was it cost effective?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And so that's one of the things that we always think about, like, especially in day and age that we're in, like, how much did the government spend? And like, was it an efficient, right, expenditure? And so they said that it cost $22,100.
Okay.
So the average cost to apprehend a convict or a person was $218, or $219 round up.
What's that? So 219 in 1985 or today. With inflation, you're talking around $544 in today's money.
Okay. And then they said the average cost of apprehending someone outside of one of these major operations was $1,295.
$1,295. That we're talking about roughly $4,000 in today's money.
So when you think about it, like, right, you saved the government $3,500 times 100 people. $350,000. Hold on.
Times 100 people, yeah, 2 zeros to 3,500. Add 2 zeros.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was effective. Now, I guess the one thing that doesn't say, it doesn't mean that everybody went to jail immediately.
Correct.
Or, it was just, sorry, they did go to jail. They got arrested, but it doesn't mean that they stayed in jail, because a lot of them actually got out on bond, right?
Yep. And I think it was over, they said it, like when they were talking about the big, like the 3,300 arrests we talked about at the beginning, where it was talking about that process, I think over half of those got out on bail. So, but what's crazy is, like, when you think about it, it's just, it blows my mind that that this got this far. But now my question that I asked myself was like, okay, when I'm like walking through this whole process, why don't they do stuff like this today? And I'm sure they do to an extent, but I also think, like you said earlier, with social media and everything like that, it's pretty easy to check this stuff nowadays, a little bit more than what you'd find. The interesting thing, again, so the type of people, by the way, that were in the operation that they were trying to arrest, The various felonies included assault, robbery, burglary, escape, narcotics violations, rape, arson, fraud, and a combination thereof. So those were the types of felonies and fugitives they were sending the letters to try and get contact with.
One of the interesting things listening to, I think it was in the documentary that I watched from NFL Films, is they had somebody dress up as the San Diego Chicken.
Yes, I saw that.
Which was a mascot. Now, originally it was going to be Santa Claus. But one of the two guys that ran the operation said, no, it can't be Santa Claus. Like he had some like
reason.
There was a line that like, no, people have to think Santa Claus is good and like they can't distrust Santa Claus. And so like he refused to let one of the agents dress as Santa Claus, and instead they dressed up as the San Diego Chicken.
Yep.
For a game between the Redskins and Bengals.
Yep.
So Washington, D.C. versus Cincinnati.
Yep.
There's a mascot from San Diego.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
It worked though. I mean, that's at the end of the day, it worked. So
yeah. I mean, like it's one of those ones where I think there's so many phishing scams now that I mean, like we've gotten 3. What did I get? I got one today. Let me look at my phone. What did it say? Or I deleted it. It said that like my unpaid, I got a tab. It was a text message saying that my unpaid toll.
Yep, I got that too.
From my drive today, right, would be added to my account, right, if I didn't respond and click and respond. There's no toll bridges between my house and the school.
So I had a brain fart because they had one. I got the same thing, and it was like, what? And I was like thinking to myself, I was like, did I drive over a toll recently? Like I'd gone to the west side, and so I was like, okay, like it's possible. And then I like Googled like UPass just to see it, and it was like, please do not fall for the thing. We'll never ask for your money over a text message. It was like, all right, thank you. Problem solved. So, but yeah, just a cool story, right? Like you got partnered with the. Did they say anything about? This is what I was trying to find. Did they say anything about the Redskins minding them using their stuff, like their logos and their?
No, I think they were.
Because I never saw it. Were they on board? Like, because they obviously let them know, I would assume.
Yeah, they let them know, and I think that they were okay with it. They were fine. It was like, I don't think that it was yeah, there was nothing where there was no hubbub between them and the team and whatnot.
Right.
Maybe it helps being in DC. I don't know. And right there by like U.S. Marshals headquarters. Had you tried and done like the L.A. Raiders, maybe it'd be different. But Raider Nation. I don't know.
Yeah. So that was just it's kind of a fun thing and stuff like that, and it's unique. Like this is the kind of history we like to cover. So, I don't know. Bark, anything else?
I mean, it's a really inventive way to try and figure out how to get people. And one of the reasons that they said that, like, they patted people down. They're like, people don't bring firearms to a major sporting event.
Right.
Right. It's kind of a safe place, and so like,
yeah,
you're priming people to have like, and the game was at 1, and they brought people in at 9:00. Right. So it was like, it's almost like it feels like it's like going to like maybe you could do it using like a timeshare
presentation.
Like, he invites you to come to our timeshare presentation.
Yeah.
Feels like torture, but I mean,
But you could do, I mean, you could pull, oh yeah, you could pull that off easily. You could pull it off with I don't know if you could pull it off from like a concert standpoint, but you could, there's enough out there where you could be like, you're going to get this for free. You know what I mean? So.
U.S. Marshal Service, we have ideas.
Well, no. So here's the thing, but let's talk about free and let's talk about incentive, right? Have you heard about the Sounders' new incentive?
Huh.
The Sounders are offering an incentive this year, and it makes me wonder if it's a secret plot U.S. Marshal scheme. But they're basically saying that like the way that people become fans of our team is going to a game. And so they're offering, if you've never been to a Sounders game before, they are offering you a free ticket to a game this season.
Interesting.
And so it's like, because that's like they're like, hey, like we need to do this if we really want fans. We need to give people the experience because that's where people become fans. That's what people remember. And I was like, that's really interesting. And I think I'm gonna try and take advantage of it. So, because it's like, why not? I mean, I go to Seahawks games and stuff like that, but I was like, I don't think I've ever been to a soccer match. I've been to a rugby match in Australia. So
It was a fun time. I've been. My buddy Michael, for his bachelor party, we went to a Sounders game.
that's right. You were telling me about that.
It was confusing though. That's one thing the one thing that soccer is interesting about is that they change kits every year, and sometimes, or it was a special Bruce Lee night.
Oh,
And so they had special Bruce Lee inspired jerseys, but the colors of those jerseys were not Sounders colors.
oh, really?
Yeah, so they played, I want to say they played like Dallas, FC Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And FC Dallas is generally like red and blue, but the Sounders wore red and blue that night. And then FC Dallas kind of wore like white and like blue, or like white and green shorts or something.
Yeah.
So it was like anyway, it was fun, but it was a little bit difficult trying to figure out who's
I
who.
understand. Yeah.
If you're a fair weather fan and you're not really like in the zone because you're used to like football, like
Right.
most football teams have like 3, maybe 4 colors.
Yeah.
And they generally only have like 2 or 3 jerseys. Just like tonight, Emma was at bowling and I was watching the Cavaliers play, not by choice. But it was like, oh, they're playing the Magic. And so the Magic are in black and the Cavaliers are in baby blue. And I'm like,
that makes no sense.
is this this is like University of Cleveland versus Miami? And then I looked it up. It was like it's their City Connect jersey for the year.
Oh, that new, yeah.
So, and I was just like, and so I was like, it's got to be a throwback or something weird. You know what I mean? So like it always, there's some stuff in there that makes it difficult. But yeah, it's an interesting idea. Like, I mean, I think especially like the growing sports like soccer, maybe hockey. Having to think about like kind of like renegade ways to get people in the door.
Well, I mean, think about that. That's so unique. So like, and we don't have to ramble about this one too long, but I just thought like, I was like, that's just interesting. Like, because some people would be like, well, how it's too good, to be true. Like for the sting operation. And it's like, well, like, yeah, but at the same time, like if you really want to go see something, especially a team like the Redskins at the time who were super popular, that you would get you'd want to get to it. It'd be a little disarming. So
yeah. Well, I mean, like thinking about it from a advertising side, if you're not paying for a ticket, you're more likely to buy food, you're more likely to buy drinks, you're more likely to buy merchandise, and then you're hooked.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not a bad idea at all.
No. Yeah. So anyway, so it says there,
as long as it's not a sting operation.
Yeah, we'll find out.
So if you don't have a warrant, take advantage of it. If you have a warrant, maybe be a little leery.
Maybe hide a little bit.
Do better.
Yeah. So yeah, but it's just a cool thing. So, but I mean, we'll see what other cool history we can dial up next week. So.
Yeah, we'll get back to you here in a month or so to let you know whether Mr. Turner is part of the Modern Fist organization here.
Yeah, if Turnbark time is bark time next week, you'll know what happened to me. So, at least I don't think I've been to jail or should be in jail, but we'll find out. Could have an unpaid
parcel. Reading the stop signs.
Yeah, dang it! I swear, it said arrête. Oh wait, that's stop too. Dang it! So. But, all right. Well, until next time, I'm the Turn.
I'm the Bark.
And we're going to be here a long time. Have a good night, everybody.
Be safe.
And by golly, you just be well.